we're going to start with a case study, and I need one volunteer. Well, hang on. Can I get my two peeps right here? And why don't the two of you come down? You can sit here. And you know what? I need, hold on. I need one more person. No, you know what? I don't. We're good. So you're Grace, right?
Yeah.
And wait, hang on. Say your name.
My name is Grace.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Virginia.
Virginia? All right.
My name is Serena, and I'm from Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn? Mm-hmm. All right. So here's the deal. Now I need a volunteer who can tell us about skin. Dude, you want to go for it? You're going to have to tell us everything you know about skin. And what I want you to do is explain their skin pigmentations. What do you think? Think you can do? Think you can rock it? Give it a shot? All right, Ali, come on, man. Wait, it's Ali, right? All right. Okay. Ali, Serena, Grace. So how is it we walk around this world with, so the three of you can see it more if you look this way and just see all the different skin pigmentations and colors of skin and shades and tones. And how do we get that way, my friend?
Well, there's the evolutionary reason is, there are certain skin tones are better for survivability in different environments. Like if you're white, for example, there's not as much sun, so you don't need as much melanin, which gives you the dark skin tone. So what is melanin? Melanin is basically a compound that is in the skin and gives people the darker shade. It's not just in the skin, but it's mostly in the skin. So basically, there's no need for production of melanin if don't need as much protection from the sun.
Okay, so let's go back. Grace, what can you say about Grace? Where were her ancestors?
Probably Europe.
In Europe?
Yeah, Europe.
Like Northern Europe, Southern Europe?
Since she's a redhead, I'm assuming it's going to be Northwest.
Northwest?
Yeah.
Because she has red hair?
Because she has red hair.
Dude,
yeah,
all right. Yeah. And Serena, what can you say about her?
Not much. I can't be as specific, I guess, because I'm more ignorant, I guess, or...
Wait, say that again?
I'm more ignorant, I guess. I can't be as specific as I can with Grace because she has
No, but
red
we
hair.
know that so Serena, what can you say about Serena's ancestors?
I'm going to assume that she's probably somewhere in Africa.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There is a possibility she could also be Indian or Aboriginal, but that's rare.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so explain then, go back to skin pigmentation and shades.
Yeah.
So look at my skin and Serena's skin. Mm-hmm. It's like, why is hers darker?
It's just genetic ancestry. It's where, her ancestors, kept the melanin and your ancestors didn't need it as much. So you lost that gene.
So
kept it.
what's with sun? Why do we need sun anyway?
Melanin is mostly for protection from the sun. It's not that you need it, but it also does play a part in how much vitamin D you produce.
Okay. And why do we need protection from the sun?
Because if you don't, you get skin cancer and you die. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And why? And has that always been the case? Are you all following this, by the way? So has that always been the case?
For a while, most humans lived nearby, so most humans tended to have the same, didn't have the difference. But we always needed protection from the sun. More so now, actually, now that we have a hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah.
So it's less advantageous now, but it used to be more necessary.
Dude, okay, awesome. That's pretty good. All right. Thanks, man. All right, hang on. Yeah, you can go back. You killed it. All right. So here, let's take a look at this. I'm going to just have the two of you sit up here just for the moment, because it's good. It's really important. It's good for people to see. So look, here's the deal. Hang on, before I do this. let me reiterate what Ali just said. So, before, at some point in time, we all had hair, and we had hair all over our bodies. But in order to move from arid climates to warmer climates, it benefits us to lose the hair because hair is really hot. It's like, those of you who have dogs who have really thick coats of hair, then they do well in a cold climate. They don't do well in a hot climate. And so it's evolutionarily beneficial to start losing your hair. The problem is when we lose our hair, all of us, if we hold our arms out, we're very susceptible to the UV rays of the sun, and we get skin cancer. Skin cancer is not a thing that just happened recently that we're dealing with now. We've always struggled with skin cancer, and all species can get skin cancer. And so what happens is the body has to have some kind of protection because, like we don't have hats, right? We don't have clothes, we don't have hats. People aren't able to protect themselves, especially when they're out in really open areas. And so the body adapts. It starts producing certain polymers. And it turns out there's melanin can come in yellow, like tan to yellow, or it can come from reddish brown to black. And the more melanin your skin produces, the darker your skin gets. But melanin has this way of protecting us from the ultraviolet radiation of the sun, as Ali said. So you need a certain amount of sun, because you need it for folic acid, for vitamin D, for calcium. So we all got to get the sun. The problem is, if you get too much sun, then you run the risk of skin cancer. And so the body does this adaptation. So we take Serena because all we know about her ancestors, the only thing we know for certain is that her ancestors are from an area of the planet that gets a lot less sun than Grace's ancestors, because that's just the nature of the skin. That's what we know. Or then more, and I'm probably somewhere in between, really, because I'm a shade darker than you, and I'm a few shades lighter than you. And so the body produces more melanin. Melanin, the darker shades, certainly turn the skin darker. And so as you move north, the issue is that Grace needs less melanin because she needs more sunlight, because she's going to get less sunlight. Say like maybe your ancestors are from Ireland. And so you're going to get less sunlight in Ireland. So you need all the ultraviolet rays that you can get in order to produce enough calcium and vitamin D and folic acid and so on, right? You, by contrast, Serena, you are in an area where you can afford to get a lot less sunlight because you're getting so much constantly. And so you don't need it. So your body can produce the chemical that it needs to protect your cells from the ultraviolet rays, but it just so happens that the chemical turned your skin darker. It could have turned it lighter, but it turned it darker. That's just the nature of things. Okay? So here's the issue. Tell me about the danger. Do you know about the dangers of that for you? The danger of living in a northern climate? Do you ever think about what? Hang on. So what happens for you when you get too much sun?
I get really sunburnt.
And then what happens?
And then I've got sun poisoning often, where I get really sick and tired and fatigued, from just being out in the sun for a couple of hours if it's really hot.
And then long term, what's the potential for you?
Skin cancer, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's the problem of you? You can just hold the mic if you want. What's the problem of you getting too much sun? Have you been sunburned, by the way?
Never, no.
You've never been sunburned?
Mm-mm. I guess I could get darker, like a tan or whatever, but not really. I've never gotten sunburnt before.
So what's the problem? What's one problem of you living in a northern climate? We know the problem for you is potential skin cancer. What's the problem of you being at Penn State, where we've had a lot of sun recently, but it gets really cloudy the rest of the year? So what's the problem for you?
I get darker? I don't know.
Does anybody know? Yeah, bro. What's that? Yeah, any number of things. Look, this is a thing. We have. I'm just going to sit here for a second. Is that cool? It's really interesting how, white in a like we earlier a few classes ago, we talked about white privilege or white supremacy. And we can use supremacy with a small s, but this is like an example of white supremacy, the fact that you don't immediately say this, right? And I don't mean supremacy like, oh my God, supremacy, like this is the oppression of darker skinned people. I don't mean that. I mean it just in the very subtle ways in which this isn't common knowledge. It's common knowledge. Everyone knows that if Grace gets too much sun, it's dangerous, right? Skin poisoning. But for you, like when you're in a northern climate, you need in the wintertime to make sure that you get enough sun any time of the year because you need more sun than Grace. Grace, because her body's producing less melanin, she can go out and get a little bit of sun and she's good. She's producing the calcium, the vitamin D, the folic acid, all the things that her body needs, but you need to get much more sun than her. So in the middle of winter, for example, when it's cloudy day after cloudy day after cloudy day, it's actually much more of a problem for you. Like you need to stay healthy. In order to stay healthy, you got to get out and get as much sun as you can on sunny days. But she doesn't have that issue, but you do. And so one question is, why isn't this a common discovery or common conversation in the United States at the same level that skin cancer for white people is a common conversation? Like, how is that? Because how many of you in the class who have more darkly pigmented skin, how many of you in your families have the conversation to say, hey, make sure you get out in the sun and you get enough sun in these dark, cloudy days? How many of you have that conversation? 1, 2, just a few people. Like, this is an issue, right? So it's just interesting that we don't talk about that. Okay, so here, hang on. So check this out. So mostly what we see, this is a map of skin pigmentation in the United States. So here's the equator running like right along here, okay, more or less. And we see that along the equator, especially a little bit to the north, we see the darkest skin pigmentation. So this is darkest skin to lightest skin. So as people move north, migrate north or migrate south, the bodies that adapt the best are the bodies that produce the least amount of darker melanin, so that their bodies are doing what they need to do in order to be healthy, right? And so this is why we see in Europe, but look in Southern Europe, we see a little bit darker skin here. And, like in Italy, right? We see all these connections here in Southern Spain. And so this is just kind of the nature of how skin plays itself out. Now, here's the key. So we had this conversation last class about Africa. And the one dude who said, I forget what your name was, he said, well, I thought the darker skinned person maybe was from Africa. But look at Africa. This is because we're not thinking about Africa. We only have sort of a unidimensional or a one-dimensional understanding of what Africa is about. Same with Europe, same with the Americas. But look here. Lots of different skin pigmentations in Africa. So it's only lots of different ways of being. So we only see one thing. So you, for example, you're not particularly dark, right? And so, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Where are you from? But do you know where your ancestry is? Wait.
My mom is American and my dad is from the Caribbean.
From the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that means, in that case, you're like probably from right in here. Do you know where your ancestors are from? Where?
Maybe Scotland and Ireland.
Scotland, Ireland?
France, yeah.
The idea of people with red hair is that red hair is like this, is as a genetic trait, is actually going to sort of wean itself out of our DNA admixture. Have you ever heard that?
Like that they'll be extinct soon?
Yeah. I mean,
I've
not
heard
soon,
of it, but I've heard it's also not
yeah, it
impossible.
sort of goes back and forth. People have sort of laid that out there, but, who's to say? All right, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, so here. I need one volunteer. Anybody. You're all going to do this as a class, by the way, but I just need one person who wants to volunteer. Just because. It can be anyone. No, not volunteer. Yo, someone in the back. Dude, on the step. Wait, no, the guy on the right. Have you volunteered yet? Yeah. All right, dude, come on, man. Yo, and I need some. Yo. Yo. Go on down. Dude. Dude. Come on, you volunteered too. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. All right, bro. Pick up. You can grab the mic and turn it on. What's your name?
My name's Nestor.
What is it?
Nestor.
Nestor? Nestor, where are you from?
Guatemala.
Guatemala?
Yep.
Dude, yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. Both your parents are from Guatemala?
My dad's from Colombia and my mom's from Guatemala.
So listen, man. So this is the thing. Let's go back. Have a seat for a hot second. So here's the idea that I said last class. We'll come back. We'll talk about Hispanics. So Hispanics, so Nestor is Latino, Latinx, however you want to say, or Hispanic, right? So Guatemala, for those who don't know, is right here. So the Americas are composed of people from really all over the world. First, the indigenous peoples that crossed the Bering Strait. So from Asia, crossing the Bering Strait here, coming down and populating the Americas, right?
Yeah.
And you probably don't have much indigenous blood.
Yeah,
I don't see
think
any.
so.
Right? The Europeans who went to the Americas and so-called conquered the indigenous peoples, right? To spread all of their Europeanness. And then Africans, who the Europeans brought to the Americans to be slaves. And so what we see, we have three. What's your background?
I don't really know.
You don't know? Dude, hang on. Like African American?
Yeah.
The Caribbean, African American?
African American.
Yeah. So somewhere, do you have relatives in the South?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So that means, so you're from this region. So you, bro, your lineage, did you get a shot of him? Get a shot of Nestor. Look at his freckles. Look at this guy. He's like as white can be. And he's Latino, right? So look at down to the freckles, which means you probably have some blood from up in this region somewhere, right? So your lineage, if we follow your lineage, do you know when your ancestors went to Central America?
I'm not entirely sure. I want to say like around early 1800s, maybe before that.
Yeah? Okay. So you could be Latin American, you're Latin American, and then somebody who's indigenous is being Latin American. Anybody in class who's Latino, who's indigenous? Who really here, can you just stand up really fast? Can we get a shot of her? Wait, what's your name again?
Rose.
What is it?
Rose.
Rose. Look at Rose. Here, look into what camera are we shooting at? This one? No. Where are we at? Dude, this one. Shoot up here. Yo, look at Rose. Yeah, right there. So look at Rose. Rose is indigenous. So Rose's features are coming from across the Bering Strait. She has Asian features. It's very clear. Here, hang on. Let me look at your eyes. Yeah, totally. Right? You can see her Asian features, right? And wait, get it clear, right? So where are you from, by the way?
Bolivia.
Bolivia? Uh-huh. And you're from Bolivia?
Yeah, I was born there.
You're born there? Okay, cool. Yep. So that means, all right, thanks, Rose. All right, so we ready? Anyway, this is Nestor. When you say Hispanics, someone's Hispanic, they can be white, they can be indigenous, like Rose, because you may have some African blood, but I don't think you look like you are 100% indigenous, right? And then you could be basically 100% African. So you could be any of the three, or mostly a mix of the three. All right, so you ready? Here's what you all are going to do. Tell me where these people are from. You can stand up and turn around. You all can do this at home, by the way. Where are they from? What's your gut feeling, Mel?
I don't really know, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, okay, but what's your guess? First off, what continent do you think they're from? Wait, hang on, don't say anything. What do you think, bro?
Continent?
Yeah? What landmass?
Probably. If I want to say like.
Talking to the mic.
Oh, I want to say like Africa, maybe Asia.
What would you say?
I don't know. It could be either Africa, maybe Central America.
Yeah, it could be. It's not. It's Africa. So, okay, you got that. It was your first guess. Where do you think they're from in Africa? So, this is the thing. Y'all ready? We talk about Africans, just Africans, right? Like Africa. And we all in our mind's eye have an idea of who's from Africa, right? What an African looks like. Okay, so where's this girl in the upper left? Where's she from? What's your guess?
I don't know. Maybe South Africa.
No. What's your guess?
Like the northern right of Africa,
The northern where?
right?
Northern right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh shoot.
northern right of Africa, man. Someone say where that is. Come on, man. Any geographers out here? How about Egypt, dude?
Yeah, I'm
All
just thinking
right.
of general area.
All right, okay, I got you. All right, she's from Egypt. Where's she from? Come on, you got to get her, man.
I don't know. I feel like people's looks vary. Like, so I don't really know. I can't look at somebody and say where they're from. Me personally, I
exactly.
can't.
No, you can't. So you, for example, right? She's of all these people here, right? So she. What's your name again?
Jada.
Jada, Jada.
Yes.
So Jada, of all these people here, she's, in terms of her DNA, she's most closely related to you. For you and her share more DNA than anybody up there because of where she's from and where you are probably from. Because if I'm going to go back, given where you said you're from, I'm going to go back, given your ancestry, then I'm going to say, well, the two of you probably share very similar ancestry. Do you know where she's from, bro? Have any idea?
No, definitely
What
not.
region? Dude, she's from Ghana, okay? She's Ashanti, okay? She's Berber, she's Ashanti. Where's she from? What's your guess? Because, okay, so anyway, I want to go back and say something else. Okay. So when you say people look different, what do you mean by that?
I feel like
You
it's.
can just sit here for a second. What do you mean by that?
I feel like people have in their mind like a set thing, like what people from one place look like, but there's always people who like vary and don't look like that set norm.
Mm-hmm.
So
like when you see her, you know lots and lots of people that look like her, but they're all different, right? Like they have her general features, like her, for example, right? If I like compare her to her, like you probably can see more subtleties in her features than you could see in her features. So like so for example, tell me if you think about this. If you went to her community, so here, I'll just give it to you, right? I'm going to walk out. So I've spent a lot of time in different communities around the world. And for me, when I'm in Europe, because I spend so much time around white people, I can see the subtleties and the differences of white people. But I lived, for example, in the mountains of Ecuador. And I meet so many indigenous peoples, and it took me a long time to learn the subtleties of what it is that people look like. And so for you, as being a person of West Central African ancestry, you can focus on those subtleties probably much better, of like say her, much better than you would focus on subtleties of her. Would you agree with that?
I guess so.
Dude, like for example, can you tell the difference between us two? I mean, you can right now, but would you? Like, if you put a bunch of us in a room, would you be able to say, yeah, not all white people look alike?
Yes.
Yeah? All right. That's not the question I wanted to ask. All right, where's she from? Where do you think she's from? Where do you think? Where do you think, bro? Nestor? This girl right there. Take a guess.
If I take a guess, I want to say like anywhere northern Africa.
Northern Africa? What would you say?
I don't know. I'll say Northern Africa too.
Yeah, okay, she's from southern Africa.
Oh, yikes.
She's San. So the San peoples, San culture is it spans part of South Africa and then multiple countries, the whole southern tip of Africa. Okay? How about this guy right here, man? How about that? He should be an easy one. Where do you think he's from? Come on, man. Come on, he's easy, dog. Do you have any idea? Dude, for you, he should be easy to pick this guy out.
Central Africa?
No, dude. You're just throwing it out there, but that's okay. You're all right. If we were talking about Guatemala, none of us would know anywhere. Where do you think?
I'm honestly not sure.
Okay, Mom. Listen, who knows? Who's going to guess? Yeah. Where do you think, bro? Yeah. Somalia? Where do you think? Yeah, he's from Somalia. That guy. You can see. Look at his face. His features are totally different than her features and her features. All right. Look at the. Oh my God. This guy right here. But listen, he's from a part of Somalia that's really close to Eritrea. So, yeah, go ahead. How about this guy right here? How about the guy in the bottom center? Go ahead, bro. What do you think?
Oh, I feel like it's serious enough already.
Cheetah, how about you? Come on, guy in the center, right there. He's easy too. Come on. Where do you think?
I don't know much about these regions.
Dude, north or south? Look at his face. North or south?
North.
North. What do you think?
South.
He's from north. He's from Algeria, man.
Okay.
How about this guy right here, man? Where is he from? Go ahead. You'll never get this one. If anyone gets this, I'll give you an A on the exam. Jada, give me a shot. Where is he from? Anyone want to guess? You get an A on the exam. Yeah, dude. Where? Dominican Republic? No. Yep. What's that? No. Yeah, man. Where? No. Congo? No. Dude. Now, let me just say this. Yeah? Nah, dude. He's from State College. Yo, first off, he's from Asia. So, you want to guess? He's from Papua New Guinea. He's not even African. So here, check this out. Ready? Some of the darkest people, the darkest skin pigmentation, or the blackest or darkest, is actually from this region over here. So this guy is from Papua New Guinea, which is right here. So people migrated out of Africa. They came around this way, down this way, up around, and there. So this guy, that's where he's from. So you would look at him walking down the street, and you would just say he's black, right? He looks sub-Saharan African. Is that what you would say? Yeah. And this is the point, how we miss it, right? This is a point from the last class about just saying hey, darker people are from Africa. Well, that's not the case right here. So here, how about these folks? Where are they from? What country are they from? They're from the same country. There's two people in this class I know of who might get this right. Do you want to guess? Dude, take a guess, man. If you get it right, I'll give you an A on the exam. Nestor?
If I had to say left one?
You'll never get it.
No, probably not. But,
Dude, you want to get it?
somewhere Middle East, maybe?
No. Okay, so listen, man. They're from Ethiopia. They're from the same country, right? And so this guy is from the Aga peoples, and this guy is Mursi, right here, M-U-R-S-I. So look at their skin pigmentations, look at their eyes, look at their nose, look at their lips. And I use these photos because they're really classic sort of center range photos of people of those cultures. So look at that, right? Incredibly different. Here, where are these folks? So listen, Ethiopia, this is Africa, y'all, right? Got it? So when you think about it, remember, there's more genetic diversity in Africa than anywhere. Here, where are they from? Where do you think they're from? You want to guess? Want to guess, dude?
South Africa?
No. You want to guess? Go ahead, man. Not South Africa. Take another guess, dude. Anyone know? Anyone want to guess? What's that? No. Dude. What do you think? Solomon Islands. Yep. They're from the... So look at this. So you see all these features around the world just because we don't pay attention to it. We see so many different features. So here's people coming around. So genetically speaking, so their ancestors brought darker skin over here, but for some reason there was a genetic mutation in their particular community, and a mutation is just where your genes, right? Your genes they mutate somehow. Something happens, and that mutation creates something. In this case, it created lighter hair, and then the hair was less coiled, right? And so it's more curled than coiled, and then here you have these kids. If you put, like really dark hair on them or black hair and coiled hair, then you would see, Awesome, right? All right, man. That's it, dog. You got one right, by the way, out of 8. Thanks.
I got 0 right, so.
Thanks, dog. Did you get 2 right?
I don't know, probably not.
I think you got 1 right, man. Thanks, y'all.
Yo, Sam, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
What was-
Can we give it up for them, by the way? That was good. All right.
What was your intention of doing this specific activity of pointing people's faces?
Is someone on the stream wanting to know?
And Twitter is asking too.
Yeah. Okay, so listen, man. What I'm always trying to do is take our conversation about race, about our bodies, about ethnicity, about culture, everything that we have and everything that we think, and turn it on its head so that we actually have to think in more complex ways. So instead of just having this idea that the world can be put into these little boxes, we can hold these boxes, and these boxes hold some semblance of truth, that actually we have to complicate things. So this is true at every level, including when we talk about something like, white supremacy. It's like, what does that mean? Remember, we talk white supremacy, but look, if you're going to use that word, you got to deal with poor white people. So how do you deal with poor white people? How do you include them in? And how do you include people who are not white, who are really powerful and wealthy? So it's always this kind of thing.
The word that's been used a few times is we're gawking at other people who aren't white.
Well, what's that?
Gawking.
Gawking at people who aren't white?
Yeah.
There's a difference between gawking and noticing. Like when I walk around the room and I'm always looking at people. I'm not gawking at them, right? But I'm always looking at them, and I'm looking at features. Like I look at you and I just say, okay, hang on. Like where as a white person, where are you from, right? Like you don't. So here, I'm gonna do something. We're gonna do something with white people in here in a few weeks. I'll come back to it, but. So I don't want to do it right now. But the idea is I'm trying to teach you that it's okay, that it's good to look at people's features and think about these things. Don't gawk. You don't have to gawk. I'm not telling you to gawk, but I'm telling you to notice, pay attention. It's a good thing. It's a valuable thing. Because if you don't pay attention, then you can too easily fall victim to thinking that there are the best ways to be, the prettiest ways to be, the most ideal ways to be, or whatever it is, right? As opposed to looking in a mirror and just saying like, okay, this is what it is. So I would say that. All right, man, so here, check this out. So if we go back, take a look at all these people here. These are all, when you talk about Africans or people of African ancestry, so leave this guy out. Because we wouldn't say he's of African. This guy is no more of African ancestry than I am. Because, in fact, his people, his ancestors left Africa probably before my ancestors left Africa. So if you just want to go by time, by time, because remember, right? Dude, here, really, stand up really fast. Yeah. What's your name again? Wesley? What is it? Wesy. So Wesy and I share 99.99% of our DNA. Like we are really, really closely related. And it's quite possible that Wesy and I share more DNA. Bro, can you stand up really fast? What's your name? Ron? Then Ron and Wesy do. It's quite possible he and I share more DNA than Ron and Wesy. And you wouldn't think that. Like you have the idea, like, oh yeah, you're these two black guys, like whatever, right? You're taller than you are, but whatever the case is, you have the idea. But that's because we're mistaken by one genetic trait, which is skin pigmentation, or by another genetic trait, which is texture of hair. But there are so many other genetic markers that are in play in our admixture that it's just this trick of thanks, you can sit down, bro. No, hang on, you stay. That it's a trick of nature. It's a trick of nature just to look at people and assume that we're not like them. Then in fact, look, Wesley and I, we're brothers in the human spectrum. And in fact, we may be more brothers than Wesley and Ron, and that really matters. But what happens is, if we're not aware of these things, we start to think that like, oh, I'm really different than that other person, and we're not different. And so I'm trying to teach us to focus on the things that really can build bridges between us, right? I'm really trying to show that. So it's a trick of nature, right? A very tiny percentage, a fraction of a percentage of our entire genetic admixture shapes our external features. So Wesley's hair, Wesley's eyes, his nose, my eyes, my ears, my lips, my mouth, my skin, my height, everything. All these things that you think make us really different. It's a tiny fraction of our admixture. So we're really connected in the human sphere, which makes racism and all like the differences between us to be a bit of a problem, man. Dude, what do you hear when I say that? What does that mean for you when I say that?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of times we just like to focus on like this stuff about skin because it's like what we can see.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to think of it like that because I never really think of it like that. Since I just look at a person, like if I look at a white person, I'm not going to think like, oh, we're closely related. But you are right, that is only like a fraction of what our genetic makeup is. And so like, I just think it's like interesting to think of it differently in that way.
Dude, especially in Africa, there's so much genetic variation in Africa.
Yeah, that's facts.
That dude, so much. This is why, like, you and Ron could be more different genetically than you and I because of how much genetic variation there is, which is mind blowing, really, in a way. I don't know. For me, it is.
Yeah, it is.
All right, dude. Thanks, man. All right. So here. Check this out. This is why, if you take all these people here, the only one that really is closely related to and really looks more closely to people of African ancestries in the America is her, because she is from this region right here, and black Africans, people of African ancestry who came to the Americas, starting with the slave trade, are all really from this tiny region here. It's a tiny region. And when you look at this, you can just see the amount of variation. People with really light skin, people with really dark skin, people with really dark and lighter skin living side by side. And so, it's fascinating. This is why I always say, like, if you identify as Caribbean, or let's say African American, it's like you're not really African American. You're West Central African American. You know what I mean? And that makes no sense until you start looking at photos like this. And I'm just picking up a few photos. Like, even to say you're Nigerian, I was listening last night on the BBC to a story about Nigeria, and I thought, okay, here are the three dominant ethnic groups in Nigeria. They make up 70% of the Nigerian population, but there's 350 plus more. And so even to say you're Nigerian, it's like, well, what group are you from? What's your ethnicity? What's your culture? It's like to say a Nigerian, that's just something that Europeans created. All right, man. But now we're going to do... Oh, by the way, here's something else. So last class, we were talking about... So people of African ancestry. Now, let me just go here. So a buddy of mine... Check that out. This is actually really interesting. Especially if you're African American. So he studies DNA admixture. And we have been doing DNA testing in this class for a long time, just to get a sense of what percentage of our DNA admixture is from particular regions. And so he had this idea that, you know what, it seems to me as you go west, black people become more white. And so he started studying blood, starting down here with the Gullah people. And Gullah is a region in Georgia, South Carolina, northern Florida, the Gullah Panhandle of former slaves who really stayed very bounded and very connected. So what you see in these numbers here are African Americans who were sampled in the study and the percentage of white blood that they have. So the Gullah people right in here, where they studied, had 3.5% white. Like, for example, I'm like 1.8% African or sub-Saharan African. They're 3.5% white, so they're really, really black or African. Then you kind of see around here in black communities, and then you see people get whiter, and 1.8% black, dude. You would never guess it, right? Okay, but look what happens when you get up to Washington. Why is this higher? The Africans on average, 35% were white. 35% white in their blood. Why is that? Why? Because you start crossing the United States, there are a lot less black people up here. So there's going to be more intermarriage. So you got fewer partners. And so part of your partners, if you're black and you make it all the way here, or even here, it's like, well, you're going to marry white people. And so there's just more interracial mixing, which is pretty awesome. All right, man. I need some volunteers. So here's what I need. Wait, we need... Hey, I'm going to need the sheet, by the way. Foo. Okay, you... hang on. Wait, hang on. I need somebody. I needed somebody from Europe. Who's from Europe? Like from Europe, like right now. You are European. Are you European? No, you're here just studying in the U.S. You can go in the front. You're studying in the U.S., but you're from Europe. Then we have a Spanish woman in here. Anybody? For 6 years? Well, anybody? Do we have any? Hang on. Any Europeans? Nobody? Damn. Dude. You? No, I'm not going to go with you. All right. Okay, we'll go with you. All right, so now I need somebody... I need a woman who's really... who's darkly pigmented. I need someone who's dark and someone who's light-skinned, of African ancestry. Who wants to do it? Somebody, anybody. Who wants to do it? No, who wants to do it? Just volunteer. You don't want to do that? No, seriously, one of you want to do it? Who wants to do it? Come on, man. Do one of you want to do it? You want to do it? One of you? You want to? Come on. Come on, man. All right. And I need someone who's light-skinned. Dude, how about you? Come on. All right. And then I need somebody who's Middle Eastern. I need someone from the Gulf states. Nah, hang on. No, I need someone who's Haliji, though. Are you? All right, okay, come on. Okay, you guys. Okay, hang on. We're gonna send you. You're gonna go out here. Yeah. Okay, you all can. You just go out through the door. Yeah. 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 All right, man. So listen. Now I need my guys. I need my armed guys who I talked to before class. No, I need my volunteers, my guys who I talked to before class. This is your time. Bro, you, two guys up there? Yeah, gentlemen. Yeah, you guys. And then there was another dude. Yeah, oh, dude, yeah, exactly. Can you take your jacket off? Wait, did I pick you? Yeah. Earlier? Wait. Let me see. Line you guys up. So here's what you're gonna go down here. Put your arm next to him. Yeah, just for the first one, we're good. Okay, dude. You go there. Hang on. No, you're gonna be in the air. You gotta take you can't, yeah, just pull it up. Dude, I need someone who's darker than you are. Yo, hang on. Yo, hang on. What's your name, bro?
Dande, D-I-N-D,
Dande. Dande. Listen up. Yo. I need someone who's darker than Dande. Yo, bro, how about the dude right there in the red shirt? He's got to be, right? Yo, I need a dude who's darker. Yo, bro, in the red shirt. How about you? Second row back. Yeah, man. Yeah. You're darker than him, right? Yeah, you're not that dark. Yo, I need someone who's really dark. It might be you, bro. Is he dark? Do you think he's darker than you? You think so? Dude, come down. I think you might be. No, wait, hang on. Bro, in the champion shirt, how about you? Yeah, dog. Come on, man. Do you have a... Look at you. Take your sweatshirt off there. Do you have a t-shirt on underneath that? All right, dude, come on. This guy right here, man. Okay. Dude, I need the sheet. Yeah, the sheet. Yeah. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna need help. Well, no, I can do it. All right, bro, you ready? So here's what you guys are gonna do. Come on this side of the table. So. I don't want them to see you guys, all right? I just want them to see your arms. So, dude, don't forget your shirt. So I need help from a couple of people. Can two people give me a hand here? Dude, the tall one. Yo, the tall one. You, and you're pretty tall, right? Can you just come up here? So here, hold that out. I'm not going to put it over their heads. Dude, if I do this exercise, here, do it in half like that. Right here. Got it?
Just hold up.
Yeah, but we want to hold it. Here, hang on. Dude, hang on. I got this one. Grab it down there, dude. Yeah, right there. No. Yeah, grab it in the middle, my friend. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so listen, man. You got to just hold it really high. And you guys got to put your arms underneath it. You can use one arm to just hold one arm out totally. All right, like that. You don't have to, don't smother them, man. All right, you ready? You got to do it this way. All right, hang on. Dude, the problem is, gentlemen, here's the problem. If I let them see you, if they see you, then it'll change their position. All right, so stay right there. All right, you ready? You all can come up. No, just one at a time. We're going to start with you. Yeah. So hang on, just look that way. Yeah. Okay, here you go. Whoa, okay, we ready? Okay, hang on. Okay, give me just one arm. Yeah, your right arm. Give me your right arm. This way. This way. Ready? All right, you ready? Pick out what's the skin tone. This is awesome, man. What's the skin tone that's most ideal in your community?
In my community?
Yep. In your community. This one? How about in your family? Wait, hang on. We can't see this. We can't see this arm really well.
Oh, but you said in my community.
In your community.
Okay, in my community.
Wait, hang on. You need a microphone. Yeah.
In my community.
Yo, you gotta let me know if she's telling the truth. By the way. All right. Go ahead. What's your name?
I'm Matilla,
Matilla? Where's your ancestry from? Where's your family from?
Liberia.
Liberia? Okay. So in your community. This one right here? What is it about? How about your family?
My family?
Who talking in the mic?
Probably last one.
This
Last
guy?
drum right there. Yeah.
And what is it about? Where did you learn that, by the way? Like, how do you learn that? Like, what is that?
Like by visuals.
By visual? You mean, do they talk about it? Do they, like, say, hey, well, so if you brought, like, this guy here home? Wait, are you straight, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you brought this guy home, would they say anything? Would they make comments? Would they, like, what would happen?
Yeah.
What would they say?
They wouldn't say anything bad, but they would just like make like, not like jokes, but like, who's this, you know?
Jokes about the fact that he's so light?
Yeah.
What about this cracker right here, man? What about that guy?
Yeah, they definitely make jokes about that one.
They'd make jokes about, because what would they say about his skin?
He's late.
Yeah, but what else would they say? Like, just,
Where's he
that's
from?
it?
Where's he from?
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying in your community, this guy here, but in your family, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Are you Liberian American or
Yeah,
Liberian?
I'm Liberian American.
Okay. All right, man. Hang tight, gentlemen. All right, man. You ready? We're going to go with you. Yeah. Just look this way. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, you can stand over here. All right, here you go. Here you can turn around. What's your name?
Joanna.
Joanna, and you lived in Europe for 6
Yeah,
years?
I lived in Poland for
In
6
Poland?
years. Yeah.
Okay, man. What is the ideal skin? Yo, don't drop that, gentlemen. Yo, put your arm out. What's your ideal skin? You can look right here. Ideal skin pigmentation in your community.
Like the color of our skin.
Yep. The ideal one, man. That if you brought them home, people would say, yeah, loving it.
I mean, probably you.
This one?
Yeah.
And what is it about? How about your family?
Like our
Your
skin
family.
color.
Yep. What's the ideal skin pigmentation in your family?
Like someone that I'd bring home.
Yeah.
Or...
Are you straight?
Yes.
Okay. So you bring a guy home.
Yeah.
What would be the one that people would say, oh yeah, he's got really nice skin?
Well, my parents aren't like racist.
No, I got it.
So...
No, it's not about that. Fuck. You know, can I, hang on, I just have to say something. Nobody's parents are ever racist. Ever. All right. So got it. I'm not mean that, but I just
Okay.
mean they would
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
oh yeah, he's got nice skin.
All right. Well, I could. Like these two.
Between these two?
Yeah.
Not this guy?
I mean, I want to have a little like tan kids.
Yeah? Oh, you want to have some tan kids? Oh, I got you. Dude, keep your hand out there, pal. Fuck. All right. Okay, but, hang on. But, hang on. But not this tan, right?
I mean, it's just like preference, like personal preference, like
Okay.
what I'm into. So
Okay.
I guess,
So tan, but not too tan.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, dude.
It's all good.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I got you. So somewhere between these two guys right here.
Yeah, even like,
Maybe.
yeah,
Well, okay, so where did you learn that?
learn
Yeah,
what
just
exactly.
like what's preferable.
I think it's just what like each person likes, like
Yeah.
a
Where-
personal preference, you know? I mean, but
personal
also
preferences come
I grew up like around, I would say, majority of like white people, and the majority of my
Yep.
like 100% of my family's white because I'm from Poland. So like,
Yeah.
and I'm 100% Polish, so
Yeah.
we haven't really had like a mix of races
Yep.
in my family.
Yep, got you. Okay, so right, it just becomes a thing that's
Yeah.
natural. Just like you. Could you ever see yourself with the white guy at the end? No? All right, man, you ready? How about? Oh, man, this is going to be great. All right, hang on. Okay, here we go. Here. That was good. Okay, food. Wait, hang on. So tell the class your name.
Oh, hi, my name is Hairong Fu.
What is it? Say it again.
Hairong Fu.
Hairo Fu.
Rong.
Rou Fu.
Yeah, you can just call me Fu.
Fu?
Yeah.
That's what I called you earlier because I knew I couldn't get high road now.
Yeah.
And where are you from?
China.
Okay, Fu. Which of these 6 human beings has the ideal skin color for your community?
What do you mean ideal?
The best one, the most, the handsome, the one that if you brought him home, people would say, "Whoa, he has really nice skin."
I cannot decide this.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead. God, even Chinese are politically correct. You know, what's with this? This thing is sweeping the land. Liberians, though, they tell it like it is. All right. Yeah, which is the best?
Are they all men?
Oh, yeah, they're all men. Do you like women? I'll bring women up.
No.
All right, okay.
So maybe him.
This guy?
Yeah.
Why not this guy?
Because he wears rings.
No, forget about the ring. Dude, forget about. He's also gay. That's why he's holding my hand like that. So you wouldn't want him anyway. All right. No, forget about the rings. It's not about rings. It's just skin color.
I'm not gay, bro.
You might be, bro. If you never tried it out, you don't know if you're not gay. You know what I mean? You can't say you're not gay till you've tried out being gay. Which one? So this guy over this guy?
I think this guy.
Still that guy?
Yes.
Okay. What about in your family? What about this guy? Why not him?
I think maybe if he's handsome.
You mean if you brought? Hang on. This guy's handsome here. This guy is not, but this guy is. If you. Sorry, bro. I'm just telling it like it is, man. Hang on. If you brought him home, what would your family say?
If he loves me, that's all right.
They would say they'd be cool with him.
Clap it up for that,
All right. Okay. All right, man. But you're okay. Well, we'll come back. You hear that? You hear that, Ms. Liberia? All right. Just saying, you could be with a white guy. If he loves you, it would be okay. All right, man. We'll go with you. You're gonna go last. All right. Okay. Hang on. All right. Here we go. Yeah, you can stand here. Okay. So, what is your name?
My name's Dima.
What is it?
Dima.
Dima?
Yeah.
With a D.
With a D.
Where are you from?
From Iraq.
From Iraq?
Yeah.
Really? Where in Iraq?
Basra.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, so when did you come to the U.S.?
Just to study here.
Just to study?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. All right, man. So listen, what is the ideal skin pigmentation? You can pull this back with your other hand. The ideal skin pigmentation.
For who?
For your community. As an Iraqi. So
The guy with the blue shirt, I guess?
The guy in the blue shirt?
Yeah.
What is it about his skin?
He's like in between.
He's in between?
Yeah.
So Iraqis really like the in between?
I guess so.
No, not guess so. Like, what do you?
I've
you're
never been
Iraqi.
to Iraq. So
Oh, you haven't been there?
No.
So you're Iraqi,
Born and raised in Dubai.
born and raised in Dubai. Okay. How about in Dubai?
In Dubai, it would be more on the darker side.
More on the darker side?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So like this dark? This
No,
dark?
like,
This guy?
yeah, this guy.
Right there? But not this guy.
Oh, there's some Emiratis that are like that.
How about in your family? What would be the ideal skin tone?
The blue shirt.
The blue shirt?
Yeah.
So this is the one where people would say, like, yeah, this guy's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all right.
No, I got you,
Yeah.
but he would be more ideal.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that? How do you know that? Like, how do you know? It's just like,
All of my cousins' husbands and stuff like that. My
yeah.
uncles,
So you're just
aunts.
going by what's
Yeah.
around you?
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. And if you brought this guy home, how would that, well, it would be okay? Be all right?
Yeah.
With your
totally-
family?
Totally fine.
Dude, it's just Liberians. You're all a bunch of racists or something, man. All right, we're ready. Okay, thanks. Okay, hang on. Okay, so what's your name?
Amila,
Amila? Where are you from?
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia? And did you know those two guys were Ethiopian, by the way, when I put them up on the
Yeah.
screen? You knew that? Did you know the other guy was Somali?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Who is, here, you can come over here. Which is the ideal skin pigmentation in your community? Yo, do you note that she's the first person who did that, right? Which is really interesting and telling.
I guess it would be like in between, literally like my skin tone.
Like your-
Probably in between these two.
In your community?
Yeah.
So not these guys down here?
No.
Why not? What is it about them? Like, what would people say? Or
I mean, like, they're outsiders, like foreigners. They're not us, like not Ethiopian.
yeah, so Ethiopia is
Or
very,
at least like Ethiopian looking.
yeah. So that would be for you. That would be more of a. So you there you go. I got it. Yeah. So for you, that's more of an issue. It would be stay within the community.
I mean, no, like, it's like we date African American men all the time.
Yep,
But
yep.
it would definitely be like ones that have like similar features.
So there would be a preference for more mocha-colored dudes, like, yeah,
Yeah.
here. And this guy, he's a little bit.
He's not too dark. Actually, there's a lot of Ethiopians that are this.
Oh yeah, totally, man.
Yeah. I mean, no,
yeah.
I mean that would be ideal, but like no, this is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, listen, man, okay, go ahead. Let's just see what these guys look like. Dude.
They're not even that dark.
All right. So wait, so it's interesting that you picked what, are you Korean? Yeah. So you picked the Korean guy. See, there's hope for China and Korea, right? After all. Bro, where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
From Nigeria? And wait.
I was born here in the U.S.
Born in the U.S.? Hey, dude, are you from one of the three community cultures that I put up there?
Igbo.
You're Igbo?
That's my parents, yeah.
Yeah? Bro,
I'm Yoruba.
Yoruba?
Yeah.
Bro,
Philly.
from Philly?
Yeah.
You're from the Philly tribe? Yeah. Are you
Part of Africa.
are you African American?
Yeah, I'm African.
Yeah? Bro,
I'm African American. My mom's Italian. So.
your mom's Italian? Yeah. And you're Korean. Are you Korean or Korean American?
Korean American.
Yeah. And bro?
Italian and Irish.
Italian and Irish. Yeah, dude, the hair again, man. Like, damn, we're killing it. So it's just the reason I didn't have you like look at their faces is because you can't. Every time you do that, people feel really weird about being honest, and so I couldn't look in your eye and be like, nah, man, I can't go with you. They get stuck on that, right? But it's really interesting. And so if you listen, follow this, one thing that I'm hearing is there's a lot of variation in terms of what would be attractive in a community. And so this idea that one color skin, either dark or light or in the middle, is really not, there's no one way of being. Yo. And it really seemed to be that you two guys were more, somewhere in the middle, really, right? It's kind of interesting, though. Dudes, all right. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions for me? Yeah? Do you guys have any? Does anyone have any questions? Because we have 5 minutes left. Are we good? We're good? Yeah. Where are you from in Poland? Yeah? Yeah. I was there once. You were? Are you from Ethiopia? Yeah. Yeah? Well, Yo, hang on, dogs. Yo, I want to answer a question here.
I was born there and lived there until I was 6.
Wait.
I was born there and lived there until I was 6.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. In Addis? Yeah. Yo. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Mom. Hey, who's got a question? That we're gonna. Anyone have a question? We're going to go? Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it's kind
Thanks,
of,
you all. By the way, you can clap.
It's a little. I just wanted to know what's in. You always play with that in your hands.
What is this? These
Yeah.
are prayer beads, actually.
What are they?
They're Egyptian, they're prayer beads, Muslim prayer beads.
What are they for?
They're from
for
Egypt.
prayer? Oh.
Yo, leaving early is
Yo,
extremely
no,
disrespectful.
Wait, I think we still have 3 minutes left. Am I on drugs? Yeah. Fuck. We have time for just one question. Anyway, that's what they are. So, all right. Who has a question? And then, by the way, we're not starting next class. Yo, you're not, and especially when DJ's here. Can I just tell you the following? When DJ is here, no one leaves early. Yo, no one leaves early. If you get up and leave early when she's here, I swear I will make the third exam so effing hard that none of you will pass it. So just be cool, man. All right? I hate when people.
We'll have
come to
TAs up
class.
at the back, so if any of you try to leave, we will get your information.
Yeah, you
'cause
just
that-
don't do that when we have a guest, man. Yo, bro. Question. Go, Puffy.
So my question basically is, after the exercise or the case study, I realized, wouldn't it be, objectively talking, wouldn't it be better to be in the middle, because you would have a greater acceptance rate all around the world? And usually we say, oh, being white is a little bit better because of all the white, privilege and stuff. But I mean, being honest, if you're in the middle, you get a better chance to be accepted in Africa, or a better chance to get accepted in Europe or in Latin America, and
Or Asia,
so on,
or
or
wherever.
Asia, exactly.
Yeah, so what happens is, what we're seeing in the world today is we're seeing populations coming together. And everybody, whether it's hair or skin tone or height or whatever, we're migrating toward the center. And the more people are moving around the world in different ways, the more we migrate toward the center. And so skin tone is starting to all become more as you saw, the skin tone in the middle. And it will be that, if we survive another 150 years, everyone is going to have tan skin. Not everyone, but most people.